People never lie so much as after a hunt, during a war, or before an election. Let's hope and pray it's not the case with the elections in Sri Lanka. Good evening and welcome. This is Face the Nation. Our topic of discussion today is Road to Elections 2024. Just a few months away from the presidential election, we meet once again here at Face the Nation. Joining us this evening on the show are Kamal Pereira, representing the Samag Jana Balavegaya, Mr. Vijay Bandara, representing the National People's Power, Melinda Rajapakse, representing the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna, Mahesh, representing the UNP, as well as President's Council, Nigel Hatch, joins us this evening on the show to discuss on our topic, Elections 2024. To pose questions from our panelists this evening, on to my immediate right is Tharunika Ratna, on to my immediate left is Naveksha Gunasekara. You too can join in as far as the conversation is concerned. The number to send in your messages is 076 656 5353. The number once again, 076 656 5353. I would be delighted to take those questions to our panelists this evening as the show goes along. So let's get the ball rolling today with Kamal Pereira, representing the Samag Jana Balavegaya. Kamal, interestingly, you supported the candidature of Mahinda Rajapakse in 2010. Right after that, you were elected as the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs as well. Why? What made you support the candidature of Sajith Premadasa at this election?
Sajith Premadasa didn't run for 2010 election. If he had run for 2010 election, I would have supported him at that time. But knowing Ranil Wickremesinghe, being with him from 1994, I knew he is not the man for this president to be the president of that of our country, even giving the country without a war in 2010. Basically, I was one of the 17 in 2007 to join the SLPP with our deputy leader Karu Jayasuriya. We just basic requirement was we requested the parliamentary team to support the extension of emergency, because SLPP did not have the numbers 113 because they were with 39 JEP members in parliament from 2004 election. So that was the main reason, because we knew at that time the war would be won, and if that India was supporting us at that time, being in the system, we knew that it will happen invariably. So without going for a general election, after Mahinda Rajapakse won in 2005 with the support of the northern people voting for election, going for election, voting, we knew that he called the LTT. He wanted them to come to the discussion table to go for settlement and to develop the north and east. This was after tsunami, and they actually didn't want to come because they were pressurized by, I believe it's international forces that pressurized them not to come to the table or join the democratic system. So thereafter, we knew there's no other way but to go to support the people in the north and east to recover the system back.
So Kamal, in 2010, you supported the candidature of President Mahinda Rajapakse. You may be now aware that his son, Namal Rajapakse, has been named as the SLPP presidential candidate at the upcoming elections. Does that mean that you are going to leave the camp of Sajith Premadasa and join hands with the SLPP in the future?
Definitely not after the allegations of, at that time, most of them did not have huge allegations at all, other than the MIG deal that which was exposed after 2010. Then the country was bankrupted because of the wrong decisions the family took at that time. When the family came into the scene, it was only the family that was running the country. In the whole political system, in the parliament, they were encouraging openly to bring the family and their relations to parliament and so on and so forth.
So definitely, as we speak
I will not support the Rajapakses at all after what happened at that time.
So there are several members of the SLPP who have joined hands with the SJB right now, the likes of Charita Herat, Nala Gudheva, GL Peris, and several other members. And some of the members who have joined in are riddled with corruption as well. You may say that they have not been proven guilty in a court. However, their integrity has been questioned over the years. So does that mean that you are supporting the wrong camp even this time?
Can you mention a name or two who are riddled with corruption?
We saw the manner in which how the Securities and Exchange Commission issues that cropped up between 2015 and 2019. People have gone to courts. I can mention a name if you want to. Nala Gudheva was riddled with corruption at that time. So there were issues. So I'm asking you, does that mean you are supporting the wrong camp even now?
No, it's like this. Now, if you take that camp of GLP, Nala Gudheva and so on, the people who came, there were many more people who wanted to come with them. We had to sort out, we take the best out of the worst lot. So these were the best out of the worst lot. And then it's up to the people, they are willing to support us. It's up to the people to vote them in or take our vote, SJB vote, and come back to power.
So when you say best out of the worst lot, you do agree that there are people with corruption charges in your camp as we speak?
Well, you see, face of it, it looks like there are face of it. But these are the best. It has not been proved, but we like to have a system where even in our camp, even after we win, that be a system where people can, without any interference. Right now, the way things are happening in the country and in the past, that it will not happen, and we will not interfere. There will be a system. This is what we expect. This is what I came back for, to put a system in place where people can bring charges and file and then get proper justice.
Very quickly, Newmal,
heard and seen.
Is there a split within the SJB as well? Because we speak about splits in all the parties, almost all the parties devoid of the NPP for that matter. Is there a split within the SJB as well?
Definitely not this time. Having Ranil Wickremesinghe without us have brought everybody together. The last time it was him who brought the SJB, split our presidential candidacy of Sajid Premadasa by telling that he is going to be the presidential executive prime minister at that time. People didn't want to continue with that.
Where is Rajita Senarathne in this equation?
Rajita is there. I don't know whether he's willing to contest or not, but he is also a member of the SJB from Kalutara district. So I don't know whether he want to contest or whether he will not contest, but he is also in the equation.
Thank you very much. Kamal Pereira representing the SJB, one-time Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. I now move my attention towards Vijay Bandara, representing the National People's Power. Vijay Bandara, if you look at the last few days, over 15 members have placed their deposits with the Elections Commission to contest the upcoming elections. Does that worry the NPP?
No, actually, in clear terms, we are very much happy about that. You know why I say that? We are the only party who does not have any split issues. We are well organized. We are not inviting for coalitions. We are not collecting people between today and 14th also. We have been ready. We have a very clear bunch of people, the politicians as well as intellectuals. They have been working for the party during last 2 years or more. So merely because of on the eve of the election, we are not doing anything to get our camp enhanced, asking policyless coalitions. We are not doing that. So we are very much happy the way things happen. The reason was that during last 75 years or so, major parties like SLPP, UMP, and then Podujana Peramuna, they have been governing the country. And Apex Court has ruled. There are cabinet of ministers who have violated fundamental rights of people, economic rights of people. Those allegations are not against any member of NPP. Those allegations are against those who have been in cabinet during various government, that so-called Tattumaru governments, one after the other. So now this is a very specific election. If you remember the past election, every time we knew that what is the party, who is the leader, what is their team, everything was well known. After Aragalaya, the people voice, even United Nations Declaration of Human Rights says, people has the fundamental right to come rebel against the state if they are neglecting or violating fundamental rights of people constantly. That is what is happened at Aragalaya. Now you take the Bangladesh example and what we did after the Aragalaya. Now they have dissolved the parliament. They have set up an interim government. This is exactly what this country was crying for after the Aragalaya. Set up interim government, have the election. Now they didn't do that. So rejected parliament, elected a single person who was in parliament as a president. That may be in conformity with the black letter law. But our system, remember that there are a lot of talks about foreign relationship, dealing with IMF. But when you have a system of government, you must ensure internal system of government first. Our internal system of government after Aragalaya has in totality collapsed. Even you look at the parliament, you cannot ascertain the democracy looking at the parliament. You don't know. They have been elected by one party and they have been holding minister portfolios with some other party, and same cabinet ministers are contesting against each other. That's how it is.
Vijay Bandara, if you look at the people who have placed their deposits thus far, you would know that Sarath Fonseca has placed his deposits.
Yes.
You know that Nuwan Bopage had already told that he's going to contest. And if you look at these two individuals per se, they were playing a big role as far as the Aragalaya is concerned. And among them was also the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, or the NPP, who were also in the forefront as far as the Aragalaya is concerned, making sure that the people's rights are met and all that. Does this bother the NPP? Do you think that your voter base is going to be split amongst these two individuals as well?
No, not at all. Those who maybe unorganizing manner involved in the Aragalaya, that demonstrate the people's sentiment. Now, out of those parties who are involved, the NPP is only organized party. If you compare the Pertugami, my friend Nuwan Bopage's party, they don't have networks that run throughout the country. So whatever the ideology that they express, even during elections, sometimes I do consider they also represent a sect of the community. The only option for them is voting for NPP.
Right. So very quickly, Vijay Bandara, if you look at the previous elections, like the one in which Rohana Vijayveera contested, you saw a lot of people attending the rallies. There was so much of outcry about a change. But how much of votes did Rohana Vijayveera end up getting? Less than 200,000 votes at the election. So do you think at this presidential election also that would be the same fate that would befall the NPP at the 21st September 2024 elections?
No, not at all. Now, this society is very much enlightened society, because you haven't experienced the Aragalaya type of episode previously. Those who elected, they had easily replaced the election to a referendum that they did. They could easily, utilizing or abusing the powers of executive presidentially, suspend political parties. Nobody came forward and talked. Even the referendum was not challenged. That is the knowledge that existed during 80s. Now we have passed 80s, 90s, 2000, first decade, second decade, and we are in third decade. And also after the Aragalaya, there is a very clear difference. Now people cannot be misled by religious slogan, ethnicity slogan. So people, present tendencies reject those things, and they are looking for a new system, new era, really a new system. So people have realized that with the, other than NPP, no other party can make the real change that people expect.
Well, thank you very much, James Vijay Bandara, representing the NPP. We now joined Melinda Rajapakse, representing the Sri Lanka Pujana Peramuna. Melinda, nice to have you on the show after a lapse of many, many years. And your party had said initially that you all are going to field the winning candidate at the upcoming elections. Up until 7:30 last evening, everyone thought that winning candidate is going to be Dhammika Pereira. Now you all have fielded Namal Rajapakse stating that he is going to be your winning candidate. Isn't this a show that proves that you all don't have a proper candidate to contest the upcoming elections on the 21st of September?
The first thing, everyone is fielding a winning candidate. It's not only our party, all these other parties have fielded winning candidates. So end of the day, people will decide who is the winning candidate. So that's up to people, that's how the democracy works. But if you are looking at the party, SLPP, to be very honest, we went through a very difficult period during the last 3-4 years. We had a number of crises coming on when we were in the government, and then we had to support another president from another party, and then we had that marriage going for good 2-3 years again, and supporting most of the economic reforms happened in this country during the last 2 years. We helped most of those reforms, and we supported him in the parliament. And some of the political changes he suggested we didn't support, to be very honest, because our agreement was to support the economic reforms, which we honestly supported him. But at the end, when we arrived into the election, we had to decide how we are going to go ahead with the politics of the party. And at that time, we all met. I am also a member of the political bureau of the party, and candidate President Ranil Wickremesinghe had sent a letter to our party requesting our support. And that was again a very democratic process in the party. It's a big party. So the certain fraction of the party decided to go ahead with him, which was absolutely fine. And another fraction of the party, which include myself, decided to stay with the party and have SLPP in the ballot paper and field a candidate. So we had few choices, few nominations floating within the party. Some are very seniors, and people like us had a different opinion. Being the younger lot of the party, we said this is a great opportunity for us to field a young candidate, and why don't we take that opportunity? And we have been stuck in the same political process for a very long time. So let's give a try. So I think at the end our voice had won, and of course Dhammika Pereira's name was one of those choices within the party, and there were people who supported that nomination too. But at the last minute yesterday evening, he said he's not in a good position to contest for this election. Which
who would have been a better candidate? Is it Namal Rajapakse or Dhammika Pereira?
For me, so that might be different from different people. Might have very subjective, looking at the different qualities and the different opinions. But for me, at any given time, that would have been Namal Rajapakse, right, the way I believe in politics and the campaign.
Right. So Melinda, if you look at it, you said in your opening remarks that some members went on to support the candidature of Ranil Wickremesinghe at the upcoming elections, and some members struck with the party's policies, that is the SLPP. Let's look at the numbers a little bit. How many parliamentarians are supporting the candidature of Ranil Wickremesinghe as we speak?
Majority.
100?
65. Around 65.
So, however, we saw the manner in which how several members of parliament, like even Premanath Sidolawat, said the number has now reached 100.
Probably.
He is also very young, Melinda.
Yeah. So that is absolutely fine. I mean, there is no, there is no harm, or there is no worrying in myself looking at this situation, because that is how democracy works, and that is how it had worked so long. And if you want to support your preferred candidate, and if you believe in those policies, the policies, that is where we have this conversation on, if you believe in those policies, that is absolutely fine, and you can make that choice, and you have a liberty to do so, and we are big parties.
Yeah. So Melinda, are you happy, like people in the caliber of Rohit Abegunawardena, left the party, and that gives you all some sort of an advantage at the upcoming elections?
Not really. I don't see them leaving is an advantage of our party. I don't think like that. Even Premanasi Dolevat, even Kanchana Wijesekara, even Rohita Gunwadan, they all have done such a great contribution to this party. They all were part of building this party from the ground. We all were members of that. And they all have different qualities, different skills which they can bring to the party. So, of course, losing them is a loss to the party.
So, Melinda, I recollect several years ago, that was in 2022, speaking onto a Facebook page, you say you were supporting the candidate of Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
I was the spokesperson.
You were the spokesperson, and you were very much supporting the candidature of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and you were in the forefront. You say at one of the interviews, Maria Abi Habib,
she's the New York Times reporter at that time,
held your hand, squeezed it, and said, Millie, I want to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And at the same interview, you say, when you looked at the experience, the acumen of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, taking books and quoting from those books, you thought that he was the right candidate. But Melinda, are you not supporting the wrong candidate once again in 2024 elections?
No, I never said Gotabaya was the wrong candidate. Even today, I think the intention of 6.9 million had at that time was very right. And we all had that good intention. We wanted a leader who can lead the country. There were different other issues at that time which are not common in now. So we thought Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the right candidate to do that. And in fact, he delivered some of those expectations we had. He gave a certain type of leadership at that time, especially during the COVID. And we came out from COVID very successful. Everyone had 3 vaccinations. We somehow rolled the economy. We somehow rolled the social structure of this country. But there were other big economic issues we couldn't manage.
Such a failure.
I think anyone. I think that is not only Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Whoever was the president or the leader at that time could have gone through that difficult time. I mean, it is objectively we need to look at the social issue at that time, the health issue at that time, the economic issue at that time. That was such a big mess we all went through, and he had to take all the burden into his shoulders. And of course, there were many what to call the weaknesses he had too. I'm not saying any of these leaders of this country were brilliant and they were the best, and Gotabaya Rajapaksa was one of them who did best he could do, and there were weaknesses too.
Meaning now no one is going to squeeze your hand this time.
But I wish.
and say that Namal Rajapaksa is a leader who can steer the country towards prosperity. Would they?
I think the sentiment I am receiving when we announced his name last evening and this morning when we had the ceremony officially to make him the candidate as the political bureau, there is a major enthusiasm within the party, because there's a major younger lot in the party who are supporting him, and there is a new wave coming out because he's the youngest candidate, probably from a mainstream political party. He's the youngest candidate in the history. So there is something new we can do. I love this movement as a political supporter.
Right. Thank you very much, Melinda Rajapaksa, representing the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. I now move my attention towards Mahesh Thiranayaka, representing the United National Party. Mahesh, with 1 seat in Parliament, multiplying that number by at least 100%, at least over 100,000%, Ranil Wickremesinghe probably would be the most smartest politician right now in Sri Lanka has in terms of breaking political parties. What do you have to say about that?
First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I don't fully agree with you. In politics, when I was a media person like you, I thought it was an easy game. I thought when you're on TV, when you talk to people, when you interview people, it's very easy. You can go on your popular ride. And when you attach yourself to a political party, you become a prominent person, etc. No, it's wrong. In politics, divisions, combinations, meeting people, getting together, inviting enemies, all that is part and parcel of that, right? And I have no evidence or proof to say that, as you said, my leader is a master in dividing political parties, because at that time, number one, I was not in that political party. And
this was not stated by me, Mahesh. Don't get us wrong. No. It was stated by Namal Rajapakse himself, saying that they very well knew that Ranil Wickremesinghe is going to split the SLPP, and that's exactly what he did. And he has done that in the past also. These are not my words.
Yeah.
These are the words of Namal Rajapakse.
Yeah, I mean, he has all the right to say so. I mean, that's its personal opinion. Let's shape the public mind, brother. Now, we need to leave aside these petty political, remarks and political slogans.
How is it petty, Mahesh?
No, because we have bigger challenges. We have a fiscal issue. We have a monetary policy issue. All our industries are ailing. We have ethics issue. We have many issues in the society. Have we addressed these issues? Every time Sri Lanka comes to a critical juncture, what did we do? We attached the solution to a political solution. From 1931, we were one of the first nations to get universal suffrage, right? That is, every able or in simple language, men, women got the opportunity to vote, because that was the country we had then still owned. In 75 years' time, what has happened to us? Because every critical juncture, there's a very famous book, I can't remember the name of the author, it's called Why Nations Fail. It clearly shows how North America and South America were divided, how prosperity was only enjoyed by one side of America, and whereas not the others.
So,
right?
So, Mahesh, the reason why we are posing this question to you is, if you look at the SLPP was a very strong political party in the parliament.
Yes.
They had over 134 individuals supporting the candidature of Ranil Wickremesinghe at the 2022, right after the Aragalaya, to be the president of the country. And when an individual betrays your own men who supported you in the battlefront, what sort of hope does a country like Sri Lanka have on a man like that to be patriotic and steer the country towards prosperity?
So who betrayed own people? Who?
Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Who did he betray?
He betrayed the SLPP. You don't know, Mahesh?
No.
Is that news to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm electoral organizer. I'm surprised.
Why is it that the SLPP is saying? Why is it that the SLPP is saying that Ranil Wickremesinghe split the SLPP?
Well, that is only known to SLPP. You can ask for Melinda, and if I disagree with him, I can answer. I mean,
we'll get back to Melinda in a bit, but
but
how can people have faith in a leader like that when someone who supported an individual in the battlefront betrays those who supported him at the most crucial time, at the parliament vote? How can people have faith in an individual of that caliber to steer the country towards prosperity?
In 1994, when Ranil Wickremesinghe became the Prime Minister, he didn't have the best of the best elite politicians, because all were killed by LTT or JVP or whoever. He didn't go on lamenting and saying that I don't have people, I have a younger set. In 2001, if you read the book, I think it's Under the White Belly. In that book, it is very vividly shows how the country was. Again, a recession. He took over the country with CBK, and in 2 years' time, he lost power. Right? He lost power because of a constitutional move, but unethical move by CBK. Right? There also he did not put country in trouble, and he did not cling on to power. As Mr. Pereira said, when they crossed over, 17 members crossed over to then President Mahinda Rajapakse for whatever the reasons best known to them, and according to their conscience, my leader did not say that my party was split. And in 2020, when after we supporting and giving candidacy to Mr. Sajith Premadasa in 2019, when he split the party, he did not say, hey, dude, you took all my MPs, you took all my Pradesh Sabha MPs. No, we were put into dire straits.
Mahesh, very quickly, I now want...
Have I answered you?
No, you still not answered me. That's why I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. No, let me ask you a follow-up question, so it's going to make it easier for you to answer.
No, but I will go on this.
Let me ask
you spoke about political party splits. I can speak on that.
Let me just break that down, this question for you. It's easier for you to understand and easier for you to answer as well.
Yeah.
So you have one man on the ledge. Okay. You have 134 people trying to safeguard this person who is on the ledge. Okay. Understand this. Don't think about President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Parliament. Okay. Just think about, to take you for an example, you are on the ledge. You have 134 people trying to pull you off the ledge because you are going to fall. Okay. Once
so now who's this man on the ledge?
Let's take Mahesh Lanka for an example.
Okay.
Let's take Mahesh. Let's make it very simple. So
I understand.
No, don't worry. I'm making it very, very clear to you. Don't worry, because people are also watching. So don't drag it. Okay. So Mahesh Lanka is on the ledge.
Okay.
There are 130 ledge.
Okay. I don't understand what do you mean by ledge.
Ledge by, let's say, end of a cliff.
Okay. End of a cliff.
Easy.
End of a cliff. Political cliff.
No.
Geographical cliff.
Political cliff.
Political cliff. Okay.
So 134 members are trying to push you and safeguard you.
Right.
What you do is you come out of the cliff and push 100 people off the cliff. How does it? How would someone feel?
No, what scenario you are trying to equate this to?
No, very, very simple. I'm just asking you, don't think about any scenario. I'm just asking you, someone is trying to save you when you're about to die.
Okay.
Okay, there are 134 people who are trying to safeguard you from the cliff.
Right.
And what you do is you come out of the cliff and push 100 people off the cliff.
So we have not done that.
No, I'm asking you, how would someone feel when you do like something like that?
No, I mean, ethically you can say it's wrong.
Okay.
But wait. Now you asked about the general scenario.
No.
If you ask if it's a political cliff, then my answer would have been different.
Right, okay. General scenario, how would you feel?
No, if in general scenario, if you come and save me, what you're trying to say is, Mahesh, I saved you, then you put me into the cliff, right?
Off the cliff.
Off the cliff. But in politics,
it's okay.
No, brother. You must say he's not
very
political
cliff.
No. I will quickly answer. Right? You have a right to question me,
and
you must be. No, you can't say soon. Then I won't answer you.
Yeah. Then I will switch to the other speaker.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Because when you ask questions, you should be specific. I have come here to give specific answers.
So
wait.
So 25 seconds answer.
Now I answer. Now this one man, he had 240,000 votes. Right? Don't insult UMPs who voted for him 240,000. He came into parliament through a bonus seat, through a due process. Then when country was in trouble, for whatever reasons, Melinda will stand by me on this statement. No person came and said, okay, I will take over the country. So I respect SLPP at that time, right? Without trying to hang on to power, right? They supported Ranil Wickremesinghe at that time because they knew if they did not support President Ranil Wickremesinghe at that time, country would have been in a major issue.
Okay.
I mean, look at the countries which face like Argentina, Russia, Iceland, all that. So
we'll come
context,
back.
I respect SLPP members for supporting Ranil Wickremesinghe, whereas the people whom he groomed didn't have the decency, didn't have the gratitude to support him when the country was creating a critical juncture.
Thank you very much, Mahesh Lanka, representing the United National Party. I now move my attention to Nigel Hatch, President's Counsel. Nigel, there is a controversy surrounding the post of acting IGP now. We saw the manner in which how the Attorney General's Department had informed the Speaker, stating to stick with the Supreme Court's ruling with regard to appointing an acting IGP at this point of time. Constitutionally, is there an impediment to hold an election minus an acting IGP or an IGP in play?
No, I don't think there's a constitutional impediment. But I'm glad you asked me this question because I would like to just take one step back to the advice that has been tendered by the Attorney General. I'm aware that it has been given, but I've not read it myself, and I'm glad that the department has decided to back the determination of the Supreme Court on the interim order issued against the former IGP. But what troubles me most, and this is something I hope we'll discuss tonight, is the reaction of the Prime Minister, Dinesh Gunawardena, and the President Ranil Wickremesinghe to that Supreme Court determination. It was another assault on the judiciary, their integrity and their independence, which quite frankly I found to be very distasteful, and it was a series of attacks on the judiciary, particularly by the current President. Now, the short answer to your question is there is no constitutional impediment. I think the President has the right to appoint, with the concurrence of the Constitutional Council, an interim IGP. And the reason that was publicly floated by him as to why he would not do that was because he was apprehensive or in trepidation of an election petition. Now, I found that most amusing. The gentleman must first win the election for there to be an election petition. Right, and that's a long way off. I do think, and besides, the other advice that he tendered gratuitously was that the Speaker should have a confabulation with the Chief Justice. It was equally heinous. These are extra constitutional recommendations which are not founded on the spirit of this particular constitution. It has its drawbacks, no doubt, but certainly this should not have been handled this way. So the short answer is no, I see no impediment. In fact, I do believe that there was a DIG, a senior DIG, who was already in the saddle with regard to election work, right? So perhaps that particular officer may continue, right? But I'm glad that the Attorney General has decided that it is best to try and sort this out in compliance with the Supreme Court determination. And I don't think there would be any impediment whatsoever.
In your opinion, Nigel, you said that the spirit of the Constitution is not being properly upheld in terms of this case in point. Do you think the head of state is trying to pose an obstacle in the mindset of the general public that minus a IGP, that you can't hold elections, and as such there is undue pressure exerted on the Elections Commission officials also?
It could be. That is possibly one interpretation. It is not the best interpretation, but that is possibly one interpretation. Let's face it. Ranil Wickremesinghe is a graduate of the Faculty of Law, University of Colombo. I believe he was called to the bar in 1972. And although the law reports don't, to my knowledge, record any major achievements that he had standing on his own 2 feet, he devilled with H.W. Jayawardena, QC, Jayawardena's brother, and then won the Birgama seat in 1977. So, but nevertheless, he's fairly well read. He's fairly knowledgeable on the law and most matters that he has desired to study. And I'm quite surprised at his whole reaction to this. It is not the reaction of what we would call in the law a reasonable man. You see? So what you did suggest could in fact be one possible suggestion, or motivation rather.
So, Nigel, at a point like this, how do you think the role of the Bar Association should be? Because if you look at the Aragale, the Bar Association came to the forefront. Yes. We saw the man in Chow. At that time, Saleh was the president of the Bar Association. There was a lot of work done. Don't you think that the Bar Association of Sri Lanka has a role to play at this very crucial juncture, where the Constitution has come to test and the role of the judiciary has been questioned somewhat by the executive himself?
Yes, in fairness, I think the BSL did issue a statement on the whole IGP's fiasco. They've issued a whole number of statements with regard to preserving or protecting the independence of the judiciary. Perhaps nothing has happened as yet to make them as active as they were when the Aragale was on. Perhaps I should insert a caveat here. I am a life member of the BSL, but I hold no position in it. So I'm not an official spokesman for them, although I'm a very senior president of the council. But I think this must be said as well, and I'm sure my colleague from the bar would agree. Sadly, the BSL is also having its own internal turmoil. Yes. Allegations of a very distasteful nature
In terms of corruption as well.
In terms of corruption as well. And I wish tonight's discussion would look at the state of our nation. Different stakeholders. And the sad and sorry state that we are in.
Thank you very much, Nigel Hatch, President's Council. That's what we always try to envisage on Face the Nation as well, Nigel. Let's hope and pray that at least the politicians open their eyes now and there is somewhat change in Sri Lanka as we move forward, electing our 9th executive president in the country. So on to my immediate right, as I said before, is Theruni. On to my immediate left is Navesh. I'm clad with two girls today. So let's get the ball rolling today with Theruni.
Thank you, Shamir. All right. My first question I'll direct to Melinda. Today's top story was Namal Rajapakse being announced as the SLPP's presidential candidate. The Aragale had a major role to play in the run-up to this election. And one thing that the general public voiced was that we no longer want party politics. But why did the SLPP think that bringing forward a candidate from the same family that was ousted a couple of years before? And why is the SLPP so confident that Namal is the winning candidate?
So there are a few parts in your question actually. So the first thing is what is the end result of Aragalaya? So that is, there are different definitions for that. I'm fairly happy the way it ended up in this country. Even though the president I supported had to flee the country, but we ended it in a much democratic manner. Now looking at what is happening in Bangladesh, we can be, we are, when you look at what is happening in Bangladesh, how ruthless and how bloody the end of the entire, the same thing is repeating there, but in a very bad way. The one issue is the lack of the democratic, the strength of the democratic institutions in Bangladesh. So I agree with what Mahesh said in that point. At least we had someone from the opposition to take over the country, and we followed the due process, and everyone agreed into that. And in Bangladesh, they don't even have a proper opposition to take over the country.
That's because the Prime Minister put all of them in jail.
Yes, I agree. So that is why I'm saying I'm happy with whatever said and done, even though there are a lot of lapses, there are a lot of issues in the democracy of this country. To some extent, to a large extent, there is a good democracy in practice of this country. And number two, the hope of the young people who were involved in that protest or the Aragale movement, they all wanted a system change, and the political conscience of this country was strength enhanced. Wherever we go, regardless they support my party or not, I can see a lot of young people are involved in politics. They discuss politics. They want to get involved in the political process of this country, which is a major development looking at last 5-6 years of this country, because I have been doing politics from 2000 since the day I joined the university. So this is the peak of youth politics if I see, because large number of young people are supporting different political parties sitting in this table today. But their hope, if you really go back to what these young people want, is a very simple thing. I think all the generations wanted is a dignified life in this country, and they want to achieve their hopes. They want to fulfill their what you call the aspirations. And the political system of this country for 6-7 decades have failed to do that. And in certain extent, we have delivered a lot of good things in this country, the state and the governments and the political systems. There are fantastic developments that happened in this country. We have came a long way when you look at the Sri Lanka 5-6 years ago. But the world is changing very fast. A lot of young people have access to what is happening in the world. So their aspirations have changed. The young people need much more than the state or the government can give.
But Melinda, do you think the people of Sri Lanka will give another Rajapakse a chance?
Exactly, the family politics.
No, this whole thing about the Rajapaksas or the family is again we can discuss about how the politics have worked in this country. It is not about the family or the surname or the people who are outset. All the leaders we are having in this table have outset at one point in their life. People have won elections, people have lost elections, and people have come back. That is how the democracy works. And Rajapaksas can lose election if people don't like them, and they can come back to power only if people like them. So Namal Rajapaksa has to face the same fate this time and even in coming elections. That is how it works. And if Namal Rajapaksa has the right policy framework, if Namal Rajapaksa has the right narrative to talk to people and especially the young people of this country, and if Namal Rajapaksa can prove himself that what he's talking can be delivered, though people have a faith on that, yes, he can win.
Isn't this, as Taruni said, Melinda, isn't this the exact thing that was rejected by the people in 2015? They did not want the Rajapaksa family ruling the country again. However, in 2019, things changed.
Then 2018 election we won. Then the 2019 we won 2 elections. And this is the first election we are coming after that. So let's give people a chance and see.
But so much happened in between. I mean, the Aragale happened after the 2019 election. And that was like an awakening for the general public.
So now people have a fantastic opportunity to go back to your polling booth and decide who is your choice.
So Melinda, what is said right now is to have a good team. This is being projected a lot, even on Face the Nation, saying that any member who is elected as the president of the country should be clad with a good team. Now you all have minus 100 people who are supporting the candidature of Ranil Wickremesinghe at the upcoming elections. So now you are saddled with how many people approximately?
40.
40. That's not members of parliament, obviously, but only members of the SLPP.
No. So then the MPs might be, let's say 10.
Let's say 10.
Just assume, let's say 10.
Let's say 10.
You have less than half.
No, let's say 10 to assume for this argument.
For argument's sake, so it's easier for us to put numbers into perspective.
Yeah.
So from these 10 people also, let's look at the caliber of the people who are with the Namal Rajapaksa.
Okay.
There was one MP who made remarks very bad, demeaning towards women in parliament. He's with the Namal Rajapaksa camp. Then there is another individual who threw chili powder in parliament. He's in Namal Rajapaksa's camp. So minus that, we have 8 people.
Okay.
So that's good enough to have a good team to steer the country.
So then Anurukumar Dissanayake has only 2 colleagues in the parliament. But he's the presidential. He's a presidential candidate, and
the caliber of the people now.
No, that is not the question. The question is the number of people. Caliber of people, then 8 compared to the other candidates.
Caliber of the people. No, character of the people.
So this election. So let's go back to what is this election. This election is a presidential election, and today then we are having a president who ran the country for 2 years, who didn't have a single member of parliamentarians from his parliament, but he ran the country with the support of the parliament. So I don't think this number or the people doesn't matter when it comes to the president, because if you want, so and the other thing is, when you become the president, the general election can be happen in 1 month or 2 months, or even the next day you can call for a general election. So again people will have a opportunity to bring a parliament or members of parliament from SLPP who can support Namal Rajapaksa as a president. So that opportunity is there. So let's look at the president election.
So Namal Rajapaksa right now has the political acumen, the experience, like Ranil Wickremesinghe, Sajid Premdas, or even Anurukumar Dissanayake?
I don't think Namal Rajapaksa has the experience President Ranil Wickremesinghe is having. Probably he is the most experienced, but probably he has the experience of being in the cabinet more than Anurukumar Dissanayake, and probably Namal has seen the
more than Anurukumar than Namal Rajapaksa.
No. You heard only that part.
Anurukumar Dissanayake has been there in cabinet only for two years now.
So that is the argument I made. That is the argument I made. So
Namal Rajapakse has been there in cabinet for a long time.
longer time. So that's the only part I am talking
Around
about.
2.5 years. So around 6 months lesser than
We'll take it.
Andukumar Zalak.
Little bit advanced.
Yeah, little bit advanced.
So if you are looking at so there are so many. So the
Gautam had
Sajid,
been
in the cabinet or even in the parliament, and Sajid Premadasa was never a prime minister. Then he has only been in the cabinet. So different people have different calibers. Different people have different advantages. Different people have different skills. Different people have different ways of governing the country and looking at the whole thing. And all over the world, Shamindra, the young candidates have got elected. Very old candidates have got elected. And some of the young candidates have performed very well, and some of the young candidates have failed. Very old candidates have got elected, have performed very well, and some have failed. So it's up to how we are going to run the country.
I posed this question to Mahesh as well earlier.
Yeah.
I'm going to repose this question to you so that you have a time to respond to this. Aren't you sad that the SLPP has been split by the president of the country as stated by your presidential candidate?
See, I gave a different answer to this question earlier. I am sad about the split of the party because I was one of the founding members of this party, and we know how hard we worked at that time to build this party, and we won 3 elections, and today looking at all the political parties, what happened to UNP, what happened to SLFP. So the political crisis is not a new thing in this country, especially in this era. Things have changed drastically in all the big political parties in Sri Lanka. So I'm sad what happened to SLPP. I wish we all could work together. I wish we all could support one candidate. That would have been amazing because we all believed in social democracy at that time. That's why we all came together. So I'm sad about that. I'm also sad that we had to field 2 candidates at this election because we all supported one president at that time, and then we thought we should make a political decision which is fair to us, especially to our voter base, who has a different expectation from us as a political party, and we have to be fair to them. But again, when you are a parliamentarian, when you are a political activist, you have your own prerogative to make your own decision. So that is the decision they made, which is absolutely fine again. So we have to meet, Mahesh and I have to meet on the field again and see who has the better chance.
But Johnston Fernando on Monday said that your party is expecting some of those who left to come back, and they will learn a good political lesson and return back to the Namal Rajapakse's base. Who are you hoping will return? Is it Kanchana Wijesekara, Ramesh Patirana, Rohita Begurwardena? Whose return are you expecting as such?
That would be a miracle, no? To have those 3 people return into your party?
Because you yourself said that many of those who built the party have now left you and is supporting Ranil Wickremesinghe.
And I have to give you another clarification. When you are a political party, political parties not only parliamentarians, not only the elected members. Now, if you look at even some of the other parties who are performing very well, the parties, everyone else in your party, your trade unions, then you have your women's, your youth, your lawyers, your doctors, everyone, and then your village level organization, your provincial council members, your local council members. So political parties is a much bigger structure, especially the bigger parties. We had 6.9 million votes of our part at that time, and only 140 or 150 went to the parliament. So of course they are the face of your political party, but they are not only the political party. So of course people can go, people can come back, but the political parties, the political ideologies will remain. That is how it works. So whoever left the party, I think has a fair right to come back and join the party if they wish, if they want, number one. Because this election time, so those things could happen. But one thing I must say, which I believe as a politician, I have always stood by one political ideology. So I believe the social democracy when I was a university student. Even today I believe in that political ideology. So one thing I can't understand as a young politician is how in Sri Lanka this political crossover thing is happening. That is completely beyond my imagination because I thought when I was growing up, when I wanted to do politics, we stick to political ideologies. We stick to our political parties because our political parties have certain ideological characteristics. But in my entire political career as a young person, I saw even before elections, even during elections, even after elections, people crossing over each other. I think it's time not to even encourage this crossing each other for different gains. But again, in this case, President Ranil Wickremesinghe is an independent candidate, to be fair by him. So he had the opportunity and the audacity also to write to Olaf and ask for the support. So in that case, we as a party, our political bureau decided, no, we will not support him. We will stick by our own candidate. So others said, we will leave this decision and the political bureau, we will support the independent candidate.
This is not a deal, no? This is not a deal between...
How do I know?
No, you're in the party. We are outsiders. We are asking you the question, is this a political deal?
Between whom?
Between your candidate and the UNP candidate.
To achieve what?
You tell me. What can't you achieve?
Having this kind of...
Split the vote. Split the voter base.
And then who will win?
Of course, the stronger man would win the election at the upcoming polls.
When our existing voter base is divided.
Right, so we'll get back to the voter base in a bit. But I want to ask Mahesh a question. I'll come back to you, Nigel, shortly. Mahesh, Vijay Bandara spoke about the Bangladesh example.
Yeah.
Which is right now one of the best examples that can be used in terms of a democracy, in terms of development, and how democracy reigns supreme over development of the country. Because if you look at Bangladesh, for an example, to make you a little bit more cognizant about the subject that we're talking about, Bangladesh even gave us a loan of $400 million when Sri Lanka was scraping the barrel for US dollars. Look at what happened in the country, 15 years of premiership by Sheikh Hasina, and now she's no more. So what lessons can Sri Lanka learn from Bangladesh, especially in terms of the Ranil Wickremesinghe administration at present?
Yeah, from economic perspective, from political?
Both.
Okay. Okay, let me start with the political perspective, right. Now, politically, when you compare the Sri Lanka's Aragalaya and what happened in Bangladesh, I think we are far better because our people had tolerance to greater extent. And imagine a situation. Now, they elected a president with 6.9 million majority mandate. Now, he was the commander-in-chief of the army. And defense secretary. No, I mean, as president, right? Chief of the right. So he would have, had he wanted to mitigate the recurrent Aragalaya, sometimes he could have asked police and three forces to attack the public, which happened in Bangladesh. Then it escalated. So I have some kind of, even though we are politically on two sides, when I had been a vociferous critic of Mr. Gotabaya Rajapakse, I must give that credit to him because he realized that whatever it was a wrong decision. Calling the country bankruptcy was a wrong decision. So he realized that this was going to go into turmoil, so he did not cling on to it. And he in a very professional manner, using his political expediency or political knowledge, he invited any suitable candidate to come and take over. All what he said was, I will resign, I will leave, but somebody should come and take the country because it was a situation where we couldn't have any lacuna, any vacuum, right? So in that case, I think majority of the public, majority of the politicians, public sector, even the media. I know there were some media who instigated it, who provoked it. There were YouTubers who wanted to make money. There were TV channels who wanted to be popular. All that, right? All that is there, right? Melinda, I am not here to take the blame as a politician, as a young politician, to take the blame for everything.
Answer the question, will you, Mahesh? You're going circles.
No, I can't answer the way you want.
No. You answer the question. No. But don't go circles. I'm asking you.
No, it's my right.
No, I'm asking what can we learn? What lessons can we learn?
Let me exercise
from
my freedom of
Bangladesh? No.
Freedom of expression.
Of course, you can express your freedom of expression.
So you can say
but I'm asking you what lessons can we learn from Bangladesh?
Our situation is better than Bangladesh.
Okay,
right?
So that's it.
Happy?
Okay, no, right. I'm asking you. So now let's say Bangladesh is it developed? Yeah, developed.
No, brother, you can't do this. No. Now you asked two questions: democracy and economy. Now, when you are not happy,
no, I'm also so now tell about the economy. Now we are just content. Yeah, so tell me. Yes.
Right. Okay. Now economic. No, right. Yeah. Okay. Now I'll give you a good example. In 2005, multi-fiber agreement was expired. Right. What did our politicians do? What our policymakers do? Right. They were fighting, bickering. Right. They were not ready to give tax holidays or incentives to our government sector. At that time, Bangladesh was not even thinking of mending garments and sending to Europe. What they did? They had some strong policymakers who really loved the country. They were in turmoil. They were in turmoil than Sri Lanka. Right? 60% of the population was poor. Right? Finding 3 square meals was a big issue. And even Sri Lanka was helping them. So they brought in a policy and they said, okay, we will try this out with the help of Sri Lankan expertise. More than 50%, I was a merchandiser. More than 50% of Sri Lanka's garment sector moved to Bangladesh. In 2005, when this multi-fiber agreement was expired, under which we got quotas, then Parliament was not interested in protecting it. Current President of Prime Minister of India, Modi, when he was running Gujarat as the Gujarat's Chief Minister in 2005 to 10, he brought sweeping changes and he invited so many international...
Mahesh, wait.
You can't make faces.
No, I'm not making faces. I'm saying, Mahesh, you're coming here with a list of questions that you have in mind and you're answering. Don't do that. I'm asking you a very simple question.
No, it's my right.
No, just because it's your right, Mahesh, I can't ask. You can't take the people around circles. You can't skirt on subject.
Taking on circle?
You're taking us on skirting on subject.
You don't go on circle.
No, so I'm asking you a simple question.
You can do this to other people.
Mahesh, I'm asking a very simple question.
I came to discuss politics. This girl asked hegemonic politics. They ask, can Namal win or lose? Don't ask these questions. Politicians should be groomed to win or lose. Your media doesn't shape Sri Lanka's politics.
Mahesh,
you
can either answer.
Now 1 hour, you have not asked single economic question. You ask about IMF. You ask about 5 billion.
We'll come back.
You ask about inflation.
Mahesh, we'll come back. Okay, we'll come to that is up to us. No, you came here, Mahesh. No, you came here, Mahesh, to answer our questions. If you're skirting, but you can't take 2 hours.
You can't expect us to ask.
You can't take 2 hours to answer a question. My question was very simple.
It's an insult.
My question was very simple.
I did not
Mahesh, very simple. I'm asking you. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes to answer a question.
You can't do that.
Then I'll get back to you after this. I have to give everyone an opportunity to talk. No. I'm very sorry. No, I can't do that. No, I'm very sorry, Mahesh.
At the beginning, did you say 2 to 3 minutes?
You can't do that. I told you very simple.
Then
very
simply. Your answer should be 2 to 3 minutes.
Please make your answer not more than 2 to 3 minutes. Now, I'll come back to you. I can't let you skirt on something.
You didn't say that.
No, I can't let you talk. I'll come back to you, Mahesh. 2 to 3 minutes is maximum you can get.
Okay, now only you said that.
Okay, right. Keep that in mind, will you? Right.
And I have a right to answer the way I want.
Newmal, what lessons can we learn from countries like Bangladesh? Because we see countries being developed for such an extent, and then because of democracy, because of suppression from the government, things toppled. So what lessons can we learn from countries like Bangladesh? And moving forward, if your president is elected as the next president or the 9th executive president of Sri Lanka, what would he do?
You see, we don't have such issues like Bangladesh or India, giving jobs on quota, on ethnicity, or on their education system, or you can go on various issues that what has gone on for centuries in those countries. So that issue we don't have. We are lucky that our politicians in this country has not taken that issue in their hand. It was Ranasinghe Premadasa who changed, give the right person based on education the job. Before that it was, you can give the job to anybody, job can come by post, and you are appointed the following day to the government. But that was changed by Ranasinghe Premadasa at that time. So we don't have to worry about that, basically.
So, Newma, if you look at the policies of the SJB, they say those are policies that were adopted by the United National Party before. Do you agree with those claims?
We are basically United National Party members who have been with the UNP from the beginning, us and people who have not joined recently but who have been in the party. Just because Ranil held on to power in the United National Party, since there was no democratic appointment of the leader of that party since he took over, then we had to, because there was no democracy within the party, we had to shift over to meet the expectations of the people and give what they want.
So, yesterday speaking to media, Ranil Wickremesinghe said that despite the fact that political parties are saying that they will go and speak to the IMF again with regard to changing its policies, it cannot be done. Do you want to counter that claim?
Definitely. We have discussed with the IMF from the beginning and told that the stringent test that they have doing into these people in this country, taxing them, various things of that sort, increasing the tariffs, where due to corruption the present government has no choice because they are standing by all this corruption, the corrupted deals. So we have to sort those out in the future legally, and definitely we will not going to stand by those IMF requirements what this government is implementing today. But we will definitely discuss with them.
But has the SJB spoken to the IMF officials with regard to changing whatever that has been agreed upon right now?
Of course we have.
And they have agreed?
Of course they have agreed.
So the claim made by the president is false?
Is false.
What about Vijay Bandara? Have you all spoken to the IMF as well? If you all come into power, to change the way in which things have been agreed upon right now?
Not already, but we will be, definitely. And we know that the current economic issue of the country, and we don't want to say that it will be...
No, I thought you all did speak. I did see on television and read in the newspapers that a delegation did meet the IMF about 6 months
Anil Jayanta met
with some of your professors of economics.
But the proposals are not concretely agreed, but we had a discussion. I think.
So does that mean that these policies could change?
Certainly, yes. Because we, as a country, we are economically bankrupt, so we have to find solution. So whoever who will assist, we have to look for the assistance, but within a framework that will benefit the nation. So during last 2 years, what happened was, it was the government, as previously we discussed, ran not only by Ranil Wickremesinghe, it was a government that has been ran by both Ranil Wickremesinghe as well as SLPP. That we have to put it very straight, that's very clear. So whatever Ranil Wickremesinghe did, it had been endorsed by the parliament majority. So majority, SLPP. So then it is not Ranil Wickremesinghe's government that we passed during last 2 years. It is the government handled by Ranil Wickremesinghe, but majorly handled by the SLPP.
Nigel, you want to add something to this conversation?
Yes. If I just may take off from your previous question to me, I think we must also not forget that there is a constitutional provision brought in by the 19th Amendment which obligates and mandates whoever the president may be to assist the Elections Commission to hold a free and fair election when called upon by them. That is also part of the answer to your question to me. But actually, I'm very glad that one of the anchors asked this question about Bangladesh and the Aragalaya. And if I may expand the parameters of this discussion, Sri Lanka had one of the most stable countries in South Asia. And by South Asia, I'm talking about India, which has also been comparatively stable, but particularly Pakistan and now Bangladesh. Right? From that stable situation, we had our domestic Aragalaya, which was essentially younger people wanting a system change, by which I took it to mean they wanted a change in our constitutional setup from the executive presidential system.
And
they wanted greater transparency and accountability. And also, to get back to Melinda, they wanted an end to family politics of the Rajapakse family, right? Now, it surprised me, and I thought the anchor's question was very legitimate, that is there nobody else in the SLPP but a Rajapakse who would run for this election? I'm just putting the question to you, but I want to continue with this.
Yeah, so Melinda, you can respond to that?
No, that's number one. You had the presumption that all the participants of Aragale had one hope, that they wanted to.
No, I think that a basket of hopes. I identified three.
Probably that is a basket, and probably that is one sect. So there have a lot of other political motivations in that Aragale. It is not just one single way you can look at the whole Aragale, or you can put everyone into one basket.
Just if I may say this, in fairness, thank God I don't represent any political party tonight, but in fairness to the other three gentlemen, UNP, NPP and SJB, you all have no political dynasties, and I congratulate you for that. Please continue.
No, how come you are saying they don't have political dynasties? Who are the people running? So now in SJB the candidate is a son of a former president, and in UNP
I believe he has a young
also
kid
coming
whom he's
from
not grooming for politics as yet. In fairness,
but who knows?
AKD, for example, or even Ranil. In fairness to him, I'm more of a critic than a supporter of his. But in fairness to Ranil, I'll give him that. That
is not how you judge. That is not, sir.
Bandism
that is not how you judge it.
On nepotism. Thank you,
sir. That is not how you judge it. So we can tell whether it is a dynasty or the nepotism based on how they have been behaving, not what they are going to do. So in Vikramasinghe family or in Premadasa family, they all are kids of political. Big political families. That is, I'm sure you know much better than me the political history of this country.
Undoubtedly.
And Namal Raj and me in our party, who is representing
was not from political family.
Yeah.
Ranasinghe Premadasa was from.
Yes, that is okay. But now we are talking about the existing candidates. So we are talking about the existing
dynasty.
No, then me representing this political party SLPP is coming from a farmer's family. I don't have any relationship to any political family.
Your surname has no relationship.
Nothing to do with this.
I'm sorry, I'm meeting you for the first time. That's why I asked you.
But we have been given a fair opportunity in the party to make decisions, represent the party, and also to talk on behalf of the party, and also to argue on behalf of the party. Number one. Number two, just because you are a son and daughter of a politician, I don't think most of the doctors' kids are doctors, most of the lawyers' kids are lawyers, and if the politician's son or daughter wants to be a politician, I think that kid has a fair right to be a politician or be whoever she or that boy wants to be. So understanding that social system, that social dynamic, I think Namal Rajapakse could choose to be a rugby player or a lawyer or a politician, whatever he wanted to be. And he has got elected 3 times from his districts, and the people of that district has elected him to the parliament. So now he has decided to run for the presidency. And the larger portion of our party, including myself, is very much supportive of this post, because we think that young man is representing the policies and ideologies I believe in my party. Right. And then again we are going back to the people, and this is, and in this country, sir, one second, sir, in this country, I don't like some of these arguments the way we are putting them in this country. Mahinda Rajapakse was so powerful when he lost in 2015. And Gotabaya Rajapakse in 2015, Gotabaya Rajapakse had 6.9 million votes. He had to run out of the country. That is how the democracy works in this country. I'm so happy about that. And so let's give Namal Rajapakse the chance.
No, I'm not talking about him not being given a chance. My point is, was there no other candidate of equal stature and merit who could have been fielded by you all. Now, and let me tell you why I'm asking you this.
Again, that's very subjective.
That is what I want to say. That is a very subjective matter. That we can ask that question from anyone in any political party, whether you didn't have a better candidate, because there are, as I said at the very beginning, all these candidates have different skills, different strengths, and also different weaknesses. So Namal might have some weaknesses and also fantastic strengths to be a candidate.
I need to just say this. You see, I'm looking at this because I find the discussion to be extremely insular at the moment. I'm trying to broad base it from a comparative subcontinental point of view. The great merit, for example, to me of the BJP currently is that the current Prime Minister has no heir apparent, whereas Congress is riddled with one family. If you go to Pakistan and the PPP, we have the Bhutto Zardari family. Now we have the Nawaz Sharif and his brothers and that family. So you see, South Asian politics is getting riddled in most countries now.
Even in America, the Bush family, the Clinton family, and there are so many other families in the governor level and the.
I think the crisis that we as a country, we have institutional crisis, Samir. Institutional crisis everywhere. Family institution in a crisis. Political parties in a crisis. What people, with all due respect to the public, people have certain wrath against politicians and political parties so that they don't accept political parties as an institution. For example, there are so-called traditional collective consciousness or collective agreement of the cabinet, right? I mean, that have been created to keep a government going. Once you get a 5-year mandate, the government should be in unison. That doesn't mean the government should do things wrong things. So, Shamil, I feel where we go wrong is that we don't accept the institutional perspective of it. Now, you say, every time I go, is UMP in a crisis? Why? Because you all see UMP is in a crisis because as an institution, it was split. Then we say, okay, SLPP one time strong because we saw it as an institution. So, I think we need to take everything from an institutional perspective. And with all due respect to you, there have been successful politicians coming from family because it's the experience. Experience matter. But the question is, family or no family, the actions.
But right now, if you Mahesh,
that was
look at
the
it right
beginning
now,
of my question.
So if you look at it right now, Mahesh, let's take the UNP for that matter, and take Ranil Wickremesinghe for that matter as well. If you look at the people surrounding Ranil Wickremesinghe right now, are those individuals who have lost an election, and they are being paid money from the public to maintain them. Look at the people who are around or flanked as far as the president is concerned, and we are paying their money, and we are paying taxes amounting to 36%, we are paying VAT amounting to 18%, we are paying all this and more. And then the president goes ahead, just because the people did not turn up to a protest that was held on the 9th of June, gives the bonuses to the people around them. Is that fair? Is that the way democracies work?
Well, I think about 5 areas that you want me to answer, 2 or 3 minutes.
As much as, but don't skirt around subject much. No. Just answer the question.
So, now everybody asks why president has appointed people whom he knows. If I become the president, if Mr. Nigel is trustworthy to me, I'll appoint him as my legal advisor. That happens elsewhere in the world, right? If I become a minister, of course I will not appoint my wife. My wife hates politics, right? So I will not appoint my wife. But if Melinda is my trustworthy person, I will appoint him as my personal secretary or personal assistant. Because let us educate the public. No politician, no statesman can survive without trustworthy people around them. You can't do that, no. Because taking the mantle of a country needs a lot of confidential stuff to be managed. And you need people whom you can trust, right? So in his context, as you'll always ridiculously, right? I mean, a lot of people ridiculed my leader, the person who came and, jumped into the fire and took the country back. Nobody discusses that. Very unfortunate to see that, right? Let alone this him being made ridiculed or ridiculous statements being made against him, he had done his part during the past 2 years with support of many people. So he has appointed some people whom he trusts, which is the right of a president, right? And he had to take that action on June 9th because there was a concerted effort to again derail the country's day-to-day activities. So we had a bad lesson 2 years ago when Mr. Gotabaya Rajapakse was running the country. He could not take some swift decision which Melinda admitted.
No, but Mahesh, the problem is, this is a time that the Secretary of the Treasury said that if we are to increase the salaries of the state sector employees, the VAT has to be increased to 21%.
Yes.
Have you forgotten that?
No, I have not forgotten it.
So then?
So which is the truth?
So on the 9th of June, just because people did not protest on that particular day, all those people were given an additional bonus and a certificate.
During 1983 or 82 general election, same thing cabinet attempted to do, to give special preferences to those who did not participate their rights, trade union rights. And then Supreme Court has determined cabinet by a stroke of pen cannot discriminate employees of the government. That is the law. This president always, this is one of the illustration, disregard that law. And you know what happened recently?
Then
Let me talk. Now this is one of the...
He asked my question.
No, he can respond. I said no, initially when we started off, Mahesh, remember, I said people can interrupt.
Now this is one of the classic example where cabinet has done unconstitutional decision. That is one thing. Is it the only one? Many cabinet decisions have been restrained by Supreme Court orders very recently. One is that mana wind power without any environmental impact assessment. This cabinet say we can do. Supreme Court has said stop. So there are.
What do you have to say about that?
Yes. Now, first thing you mentioned about cabinet decision about the public trade union action. So when the cabinet takes a decision, it tantamounts to executive decision.
Yes.
You need to take executive decisions when you run a country. Now, Honorable Lal said this trade union action is unfair. Even if we come to power,
you are mixing it up. I am not talking. You cannot discriminate among public players. Those who participate in trade union action and those who not.
Right to intervene.
Cabinet has no right to discriminate.
Okay, show me the constitution, boss.
Yes.
Show me the clause.
Article 12(1). Let me see.
Please show me.
Equality before the law.
No, okay. Equality before the law.
Yes.
If you say cabinet can't take executive decisions, and if they can't take, you show me the clause.
No, that's not
cabinet
what he's
can
saying.
take a decision.
Can I assist you, please? I think what he's trying to say is that under the Constitution, particularly Article 12, as he identified, the cabinet can take decisions, but they can't discriminate between groups of people.
Right.
They can't confer a benefit on another group which they don't confer on a similar group that is similarly circumstanced, basically.
Okay. Mr. Nigel,
so
in this instance,
he's talking about discrimination.
In this instance, what happened was there were countrywide strikes, and President had said we will increase the salaries because June 25th only we could declare that we came out of the bankruptcy, right? Then to camouflage that there were so many strikes and so many trade union actions. Then the general public, now Samir, 1.5 million public sector, okay, let's say everyone strikes, goes on the road and strike. But what about the rest of the people? Then President made a plea and said, get back to work, don't put people in trouble, right? Then they were not ready to come to a certain kind of a agreement. And if this was allowed to happen for another week, then you all will again say, we have a president, he can't take a decision in the public interest.
No, but don't you think, Mahesh, right now, but don't you think what is happening?
How do you say selective privileges?
Yes, exactly.
People who didn't go to, he didn't
trade union, Director General himself a trade union leader.
Was there a gazette? Government said, people who attend to work will be paid.
That you can't.
It was not a decree. It was not a. Why?
It was a special payment. It was a special payment.
Wait. Now, as per the establishment code, as per the establishment code,
Vijay Bandara is saying that is illegal.
Code is subject to constitutional provisions, right?
Yes.
Article 12(1) is the guide.
No, establishment code says establishment code is to run the public sector.
Right. So, Melinda, getting back into what is going on right now, you are very well aware that there was a court order with regard to the mismanagement of finances in Sri Lanka, and as a result of that, Mahinda Rajapakse, Basil Rajapakse, Gotabaya Rajapakse, Ajit Niwad Kabra, and P.B. Jayasundara were accused of
Monetary Board.
The Monetary Board of Sri Lanka was accused of mismanagement. So if you look at it, from the 7 members in the Rajapaksa family, 3 of them have already been accused of financial mismanagement in the country. So now we are seeing a 4th, that is Nama Rajapaksa, being put to the forefront to run for the presidential poll. How sure are we that they won't or he won't drag us down in the same path at the next election or even after?
No, number one, the accusation was on the economic mismanagement at that particular time. That was the court case. I am sure there are a number of
correct,
lawyers here.
You're right.
The case was on the mismanagement of the economy at that time. And
Between
that
2019 2022.
22. And that time, so these are again very subjective because there is no hard and fast rules and regulations on how you are going to manage the economy. There are basic principles. Rest is depend on your political ideology, depend on what you believe in as economic policy, you make decisions. So there are different political ideologies in this case where at that time the government believed in managing it locally, and going to the IMF was the last resort at that time. But still the IMF...
How sure are we that Nama Rajapaksa also won't take us in the same path?
Which path?
Economic mismanagement.
The part of bankruptcy.
No. So see, you put these questions into a much bigger, larger context. And even that court decision, I'm sure if anyone has the court decision, that court decision doesn't say they are purely responsible for the mismanagement of the economy.
One thing, they have not followed the due process of law. A minister is a politician, they can't take decisions on their own. There are advisors. Advisors advise, that has been disregarded by ministers. That is the Supreme Court judgment.
See, that is the Supreme Court judgment.
Yes.
So all the decisions...
When you are holding public position, there is a particular accepted norms and ways that you have to take decision. So you have not followed that due process of law.
Probably.
That is the determination of the Supreme Court.
That is the determination.
Yeah,
that is the determination. So that is the determination.
So the people who are watching us tonight, give them the assurance that it won't happen again. Can you give that assurance?
Yeah, I can say yes.
He won't say no. I can say same from him.
I can say yes. The answer is definitely going to be being a politician. I will say yes. But I would like to give a much larger context because now we are in this habit of that 3 years had a much larger context and how we arrived into that crisis, and we have forgotten that the fact that we went through COVID, we have forgotten how that economic crisis...
If that is the case, how many countries in the world were declared bankrupt between 2019 and 2020 because the entire world was going through COVID?
But again, see the way you are framing these questions. I mean, now in those 3 years, if you look at very basic economic principles, the problem we faced was we didn't have enough dollars to pay debts and also to buy things which we buy using dollars. And why the dollars didn't come? We have discussed about this many times. Why the dollars didn't come? And we being Sri Lanka, we had only 3 major inflows of dollars. And all 3 major inflows were stopped at that time because of the COVID. And the government couldn't manage the dollar inflow, and that is how the crisis went into a much bigger major crisis.
Yeah, but Melinda, you know now the fertilizer ban that was issued by Gotabaya Rajapakse administration.
Yeah.
Right. They said that tea, paddy fields don't apply fertilizer because it has to be organic. Understood? Let's say we buy that argument for that moment. But for rubber?
Coconut.
Yeah, so I never bought that argument.
Yeah, so rubber?
Yeah, so I mean, in this case, I'm in your side. I was from the very first day. I was very much. I'm a son of a farmer.
Yes.
I have been always against that decision. I think that was a stupid decision they made, and they made it in a very arbitrary manner. And one morning, the president and the team came up with that decision.
How sure are we that such stupid decisions won't be taken again?
Shamir, there are so many stupid decisions made by all these political parties. Some political parties even decided to kill each other in this country. And 50,000, 60,000 people, young people died in this country because of the decision these countries...
Mr. Zibana, you can answer
countries, no, he doesn't have to answer. No one has to answer that. But that is the history of this country. And just because of that, we are not questioning these parties. Are you going to repeat the same thing happened long ago? Or someone else made that decision? Some other leader made that decision. So you are in a new path. You are asking for a new mandate. You have a new policy framework, and you are in for a new ask from people, which is absolutely fine.
Mahesh, I have a question for you.
Yes,
I'd like to quote some titles of articles that were published on the PMD. Anyone who is concerned about the country supports President Ranil Wickremesinghe in this presidential election, says State Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs. That's one. Secondly, anyone who is concerned about the country supports President Ranil Wickremesinghe in this presidential election.
Said by?
Says State Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs. That's a title of one article. There are a few more. If you want, I can quote those as well. Would you say that now the PMD is something that the President has access to, and the President is running for this election as an independent candidate? This is not a privilege that any other candidate here has. Would you say that it's unethical for the President to publish articles, or anyone from the President's media division to publish articles that are linked to the President's election campaign?
It's linked to the President.
President's election campaign?
No. Say it again.
Anyone who is concerned about the country supports President Ranil Wickremesinghe in the upcoming presidential election, says State Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs.
Okay.
Those are linked to the campaign.
Wait.
That's linked to the campaign.
So wait. Who's the incumbent president now?
President Ranil.
Right, okay. So you tell me why it is wrong a statement made by Deputy Minister, whoever, being captured in media release?
Because it is linked to the president.
Do you know how many presenters, how many people who worked in this organization were in Parliament and countries in provincial councils? And do you know that how many times I get invitation to be a host, to be a chairman of a TV station, but I don't do that? Why? I have ethics. Because I'm electoral organizer, right? In this context, if you all want to corner president, I will tell you all how to corner president. Okay?
How to corner president?
No, if you want to corner president,
tell me.
No, wait. I will tell. If you want to corner him, you ask about economic questions. I'll give you good economic questions. You ask.
Tell me, Mahesh, how to corner.
No, then you ask about why direct tax, why not indirect tax. Now you said, before the show, you said why not we increase taxes on sugar. Now it's a different argument, direct tax and indirect tax, because the whole world says direct tax component should be increased. So like that, if you want to question president, you question on his economic decisions.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the corruption deals, will you, over the last few months? Yeah. Now the VFS deal.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, who said fair?
I'm asking you.
No, I didn't say fair.
So it's done under the auspices of the president as
How
the minister, as the head of the cabinet.
No, it was presented to the cabinet. Cabinet has taken a collective decision. Then it was president who again intervened. Right? You can interview Honorable Harin. He intervened and he brought it down to $10. It was $22. Right? Then he.
I think
that is also stated by Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So it is a good thing, no? When people have a problem.
You are doing bad things, people go for the court for justice.
So it is correct, no?
Yeah. So Mahesh, every single time you all do something wrong, people have go to courts.
Yes.
People have that right. Ask
people,
from this, learn.
People have the right. So by knowingly you all are doing the wrong thing.
No. Who says so? Who says so?
So you are saying.
So when you say deciding against. That's why court is deciding again.
You have done wrong. That's the final.
And also you invited me as electoral organizer of UNP, right? Some questions, I even told Nilesh Nedyatambi not to ask certain questions, you ask economic questions, because see, I am not in parliament, right? And then sometimes I am not privy to parliament affairs.
But the problem is, Mahesh, if that happens all the time, we can't invite people like.
That is why it didn't come last 2 years.
So
that's why we didn't come last 2 years.
So that's okay. So
right? Because you all don't have any respect towards at least budding politicians. Your organization thinks you all hold the lot of power because you are a media.
Mahesh, can I tell you something?
I'm being very open.
Mahesh, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You have been wanting to come on this show many times.
No.
You have called me.
Call Nilesh now.
You have called me.
No, don't tell us. No,
you have called me personally. personally.
No, this is
you
an
have called me
insult.
personally.
I have never called you my party. No, I have never. When I have never called you personally.
Right, okay.
I never called personally. Nilesh was coming behind me for last 3 months. I was waiting till the party give the sanctions.
If you don't want to answer questions, Mahesh, if you don't want to answer, so when you're saying we are asking you the wrong questions, that you have to be a parliamentary to answer questions. What is this? Are you acting like a child? This is
How dare you call me a child?
This is a platform. If you can't answer, just say that you can't answer. That's all.
I answered her.
Yeah, but then don't.
Some questions I can't answer because I'm not the parliament.
Right. Then say so.
I said that.
Then don't say that. Then don't say. Then don't say that 2 years you have not come to the show. That is not acceptable.
But not for you to take the upper hand and whack. You whack other people.
Right. Okay. You can think. No. That is okay, Mahesh. That's okay. Right. Fine, Mahesh. That's what I said. That's with you.
Right.
Fine. Just leave it at that. If you can't answer questions, you say that you can't answer questions because you are not privy to that information. We will respect you for that.
Right.
But don't get other things involved and don't say petty things.
What is petty thing?
What did you say? That 2 years would you come on the show? 2 years would you come on the show? Why?
I did not come for a reason. Our party did not approve.
Right. Okay. Then fine. Then fine. So forget about it.
You know very well.
So I don't know. I don't know.
I have never called you that I want to come.
Yeah. Right. You have not pleaded. So let people decide. Right.
I came here only after party approved.
Right. Please, Mahesh. I know you. So let's not go there. Newmal, now there are 17 million people who are going to the polling booth this time. Let's say 80% of that voter base would vote at this election, which is around 14 million approximately. Yeah. Given the fact that Sajid Premadasa took 4.5 million votes last...
5.6.
5.6 million, was it 4.5 or 5.6?
5.6.
No, 5.4.
5,506,000.
Yeah, so 5.4 million votes. At the last election, what is your take? Who do you think the new voters would vote for? Because right now, even the NPP is gaining some traction in terms of the grassroots levels as far as votes are concerned. So what is your target in terms of this election? I know you would say that you all will get more than 50%, but let's be realistic. Right now, what is the target that your party has in mind?
We are looking at around 60%, not 50% plus one, but 60%. We are confident because of the ground reality. We will get that vote.
Right. So there are 16 members right now who have deposited their bonds at the election, 18 to be very precise. So tell me, Newmal, who do you consider competition at the next election?
60%, there is no competition. When we are getting 60%,
so you're saying there is no stiff competition from the NPP, Ranil Wickremesinghe camp, or even Melinda Rajapakse's camp, that is the Namal Rajapakse camp at this moment, and you have people like Sarath Fonseca who is going to contest the elections. You have many others who are well-known or reputed people in society who are going to contest elections. There are entrepreneurs, so there is no stiff competition whatsoever.
As an opposition leader, so far, the person who has performed in this country and delivered is the present opposition leader who is a presidential candidate of the SJB. So we when we go to the masses, when we get the feedback that we get, is that he will be given a chance. Just look at the DNA, like you were talking about the dynasty. I'm sure looking at all the other people who have failed this nation, who have bankrupted this nation. Now our member here told this, we are out of bankruptcy. A learned lawyer is here, presidential counsel. You can ask whether we are out of the bankruptcy. We are still in the bankrupt state, in a bankrupted state today. We are not paid loans. We don't know how, we are not paid any interest. Our taxes have been increased.
It's not accurate.
What have we got?
That's not
so many corrupted deals, which thank God to the Supreme Court has prevented those taking place. And then look at the cost of living. At 300 rupees, the milk price in 2020, 21, 22. Now it is 4 times. You think people are drinking milk today? Look at the diesel price, look at the kerosene price, look at anything. Tell me one industry, tell me one investor who has come. Tell me one investor
what would you all do differently? What would you all do differently?
Law and order, transparency, accountability. This is what we want. The confidence, we have to build the confidence of the people. If we don't do that, we cannot deliver. That's understood.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So all this time, I'm trying to just fathom. Now, Honorable Sajid Premadasa seems to be a good leader according to SJB. Now you all talk about anti-corruption law and all that. But I have one question with all due respect to you, not to provoke or instigate. Why don't SJB participants in talk shows or in any public forum declare where Mr. Premadasa gets money for buses and classrooms? Because no opposition leader in the history has done that. But we have not got answer because you spoke about.
I'm sure the public is aware. The buses that he has bought are being paid by the people, the donors, and the receipts are in favor of those donors. You can ask these companies who are selling the buses who the donors are. Simple as that. I don't know why you have not heard about it before. Computers, there are donors who are buying computers, paying for it, and the names of the donors are in those receipts. If you look at hospital equipment, those donors whose names are in the receipts are the people who have funded this program. Nobody, he is not pocketing the money that he is getting. He is not even accepting the cash. But they are paying direct to the supplier.
Yeah, but Newman, when you look at national politics,
this is
not good enough. National politics is something way beyond this.
Of course.
You have to look at the people's aspirations, you have to look at the livelihoods of the people.
Of course.
So what sort of plans do you all have in mind to uplift the livelihoods of the people? So let's start off with basic things. Let's take a look at the taxation, the pay taxation for an example. So now it stands at 36%. I saw Harsh De Silva saying that they're intending to bring down this to 24%. If that's the case, how is the revenue going to be bridged?
Number one is confidence. It's law and order. Transparency.
Yeah, but that's not going to give us the money to eat and drink.
No, let me tell you. It's a confidence that we need. It's a positiveness that we need. It's like during the Gotabaya time, when he was elected, how people were confident. Because they expected accountability, transparency, and bringing all these rogues who have robbed
but that is
to justice. Let me explain.
In terms of
number one is law and order. Accountability, transparency,
in terms of
make it available. Once that is done, when there is not a single investor in this country, BOI. If you look at statistics, the port city. Tell me one business that has come there. 2 years. What is the business? Nothing. So number one is transparency, accountability, law and order. Once that is in place, that document is in place, there will be, positiveness in the investors. I am in the Japan-Sri Lanka Friendship Association. Honorable the Excellency, the Ambassador of Japan, told there are enough investors willing to come here. Openly, he told about one of the ministers who have been corrupt. What has happened to that? My learned friend here is there. These are black and white. So when that is happening in this country, there is no positiveness. There is corruption, there is negativity in this country. So when you do, law and order is there, definitely, all of us, although they represent their parties, they all like to have law and order and discipline and get the people to live according to the expectations.
I'm trying to say past 2 years, nothing has happened to that effect.
No development, no investment in this country. Look, I just gave you example of what Japanese ambassador told in public about the airport project.
Mr. Nimal, in a backdrop of where there was a heavy fiscal issue, the fiscal issue was the country's issue, no? So how would, if Sajith Premadasa was appointed president, act in that context? Because there was a fiscal issue. I'm talking economic issue. There was a fiscal issue. Nothing but fiscal issue.
Bad management, giving tax, nobody, at that time giving, there was no income. They gave away the income. And there was expenditure. How can you meet expenses without getting income?
No,
basically, that was the biggest mistake. We at that time told in Parliament, don't reduce the taxes. So we in the opposition, we like to see a government fall. But we were not. We were not doing that.
So you are saying,
if you ask Honorable Mr. Hatch, what if Sajith Premadasa came? What you would have done? There was a policy by the bar association presented to all the parties to implement that. That is what we wanted to implement.
Right.
That is what we want to do.
I asked for fiscal
we were not prepared to continue.
In terms of
the law and order, am I right or wrong? If that was in place.
I think that was one of the proposals.
Main proposal. That is what the public wanted. That was a public document.
So, Mr. Vijay Bandara, in terms of the taxation, this is under a lot of contention, and as you know, there are new voters who will be going to the polling booth, amounting to over 3 million. this time around as far as elections are concerned. And they are paying taxes at present. What is the glimmer of hope that you would give them? Are you going to reduce the tax rates in the country? Are you going to reduce the VAT rates in the country? If so, how are you going to bridge these gaps? Is this something that you all have discussed and spoken about within the party?
My knowledge about economy and taxes are very
limited,
limited, but I can answer from hearsay, from what I gather from the party.
Right.
We have prioritized this. We are mainly, once we ensure the good governance and stop the unnecessary waste on the part of the government, we first give priority for health. And there are serious medicinal issues in this country. We will tackle that within first 3 months. That is the first priority. Secondly, most of the school stuffs, equipments are taxed. So we will definitely done away for taxing with that. That is second priority. Then foods. So we will generate funds or secure funds for those priorities by reducing the government unnecessary expenditure.
Right.
I'd also like to ask you, Mr. Vijay Bandara, what will happen to the loss-making entities like Sri Lankan Airlines, CEB? Will you restructure, privatize, or what will be
That's
the
the big
solution?
economic issue. I'm sorry that I am unable to answer that. Certainly we have a plan.
I'll come back to you, Mahesh, in a bit. Melinda, what is the thought of Namal Rajapakse? Because I remember when the VAT was increased to 18%, he was the one person who was against the increase of the VAT. He said that this is not the way we can support the public and the government should not be oblivious to the problems faced by the public. So is this in the cards? I know it's too early because only today the nomination was announced. I probably think that you all will come with an election manifesto in the next few weeks or next few days. But these are the early stages. But for us to just understand, is this something to reduce taxation? Is something on the cards of Namal Rajapakse?
So I have been attending the policy discussion happening in the party for last 1 month or two. The team involved in developing the political manifesto. So one major suggestion coming up is how much and how we can reduce the tax. Number one, we have to be in line with the ongoing IMF program and see how we continue the IMF program, respecting what the country has agreed. And also, if there are places and things you can negotiate, how the new political authority could do that. And also believing that the officials of the Treasury and the Central Bank has done a great job and a good job. You know, again, they have to go and negotiate. It's not the politicians who are going to negotiate again. It's the officials who will do that again. And we can only give the policy and the political guideline. So in that whole picture, I think tax has become a greater conversation because during the Aragali, I remember everyone wanted to increase tax, but then the president increased tax. Now everyone wanted to decrease tax, and that has become a very popular election what you call promise. Now again everyone is acting like they are going to reduce the taxes without telling then how are going to manage the economy. So SLPP is very much going to be in line with the agreement we have made with the World Bank, with the IMF and other global entities, and we are going to respect that. And if there is any possibility to reduce taxes, but also keeping in mind that we can manage the other expenditures. You know, that is even though everyone is saying that we are going to reduce expenditure, that is not an easy thing. Like every possible angle, because I'm also was a part of a big government institute so far.
But that doesn't make your policies different than the policies that are adopted right now, Melinda. You're saying that you all will go through the IMF.
If you look at most of the economic policies, we were the one who supported in the parliament for President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Yeah, so that's what I'm asking you. So would that change? For example,
there is no
selling of state assets is on the cards of the Ranil Wickremesinghe.
No, there is actually.
What is the policy of?
I will actually in Ranil Wickremesinghe's policy was restructuring state-owned enterprises. So when you say restructuring, some to close down, some to give to private sector to manage, and still keeping And then the public-private partnerships, like the airport, you have to be a public-private partnership. But the Sri Lanka Telecom or the let's say the Hilton, you can give to private sector, because government doesn't have to run hotel. And there are certain institutes, like there are so many institutes you can close down because they are like the cement corporation of the government. It doesn't do any business, so you can close it down. So there are different cards. So there was a fantastic restructuring process started by the state-owned enterprises restructuring unit, which was very transparent. But again, I must say, there were cabinet ministers who also tried to sell state-owned enterprises through the cabinet without coming through that process also. That also we saw. That was the question.
Those are SLPP members.
Yes.
SLFP members. You know that the government was the government had different
but that
stakeholders.
That includes SLPP also.
All ministers are SLPP, you know.
No,
UMP ministers.
No. Prime Minister is from a different party.
No,
There was SLFP.
He contested from SLPP, you know.
Yeah.
Prime Minister.
But that doesn't mean he's from SLPP. That was a major coalition, sir. That is basic politics.
Right.
And his party decided to support Ranil Wickremesinghe.
So, Melinda, in terms of selling Sri Lanka Telecom for that matter, that was on the card. Sri Lanka Insurance for that matter. What's the policy of the SLPP?
Number one, the SLPP believe in restructuring state-owned enterprises.
When you
that
say
is very much needed.
That's a very big word.
Yeah,
it's a very broad word.
Yeah, because when you
is
talk
selling,
because when you
selling,
no,
or is it
no, you can't just talk about thousands of state-owned enterprises. You can't just come out and say we are going to sell or not sell.
Right. So Mahesh, just want to understand, because you say that economy is something that you today came to speak about. No, so 36% pay tax that has been increased to that threshold. If Ranil Wickremesinghe is elected for another term, will he reduce this?
Well, it needs to be gauged as per the prevalent status of the economy. Why I'm saying that is that when
so you all gauge the economy month on month.
Of course, yes.
That's not the way that economy is usually gauged across the world.
No, you need to look at the statistics, and then you need to regress the current status. I can show you some of the stats.
So then Mahesh, no point of doing a budget for the entire year, for 12 months.
The budget is the fiscal status of the country. That is how much government can.
So I'm asking you, is it on the cards of a budget to reduce the pay tax and the VAT in Sri Lanka after Ranil Wickremesinghe is elected president?
Our agenda is to expand the economy, right, and also maintain a surplus in the primary account, because now bankruptcy.
How do you intend to have a surplus on the primary account, tax people, and increase the president's expenditure?
Well, now let's understand what the primary surplus would be.
First. So I didn't ask you about primary surplus.
I won't answer. I'm answering according to my knowledge.
Mahesh, so now you said that you have come here to answer about economics. When I ask you about questions about economics, you are keeping in mind what you have come here to talk about, and you're saying
I'm asking about economy, no?
So I'm asking you,
how come fiscal policy is not government's economic policy?
How do you increase the taxation to 36% and have ex-appropriation acts in parliament to increase the expenditure of the president?
Well,
is that fair? That is all I'm asking you.
It was not president's personal expenses. A president can draw funds which are not utilized by ministers. He was a minister and used for some other projects which will benefit the people,
like
within the finance.
Example?
Now, for example, Aswasuma. Then 100,000 scholarship program.
So you're saying whatever that has been included in the president's expenditure now, that is going over 8 billion, is going to be utilized for the Asasum program.
Other salaries, fuel allowance, all budgeted. Taking a note from your book, those were budgeted. It was not it was not taken to increase someone's fuel, someone's salaries. It was taken to benefit people in the periphery. Scholarships. Then we are trying to get a donation from the UN. I think it's UN about this carbon footprint, right? We are trying to get some investments into Sri Lanka, because we are going to show that Sri Lanka is a more eco-friendly country. So for that you need to put into research,
so
right?
Research money was also taken to Aswasuma. 450 million rupees. Vocational training center, Anuradhapura for Buddhist monks was also taken and put into 8 billion. 8 billion.
Aspersum was budgeted at the last
the
appropriation bill.
additional-
So this 8 billion was taken, whatever 800, whatever this amount was taken, to benefit the people in the periphery. We understand there is an issue.
No.
People are affected by the periphery.
Let me correct.
No.
The 8 billion that they wanted, government would have, the request was, they could have touched any government institution, EPF, ETF, all these places where the monies are allocated, they can take and do whatever he wants.
Allocated for the ministry, not for the EPF, ETF.
You get the request. Look at the request.
Right.
President has requested for the authority to take those monies as well if he wishes.
No, it is misleading when you say
No,
EPF, ETF.
very
EPF,
clear.
ETF contributed by the employees.
Yeah.
Nobody can touch that money
You can.
unless they invest in government bonds and securities, or they make strategic investments like they did in Sri Lankan Airlines Catering. You are not in Sri Lankan Airlines, right? Sri Lanka Airlines Catering was a strategic investment by the EPF, ETF. Let's define the issue. Now, Shamir, like all this time now, you are saying don't come up with a round story, but we can answer, give a proper justice to this airtime if we don't agree to these principles. Now, if you ask why Sri Lanka is in trouble, I can give an answer which may you not, with all due respect to you, which may you not agree with me. But according to what I have learned, what I have read, I have an answer. Right? I'm going to answer.
Mahesh, first understand, this is a panel discussion,
Right.
Mahesh.
Yeah.
Listen maybe first, please understand. Will you,
No, I have done this job now.
Everyone, you have done this program, you have come on this show.
No, I have done your job also.
I don't know whether you have done my job or not.
Why? I was a presenter, no. I was like you.
I don't know that.
You don't know?
No, I don't know that. Anyway,
okay, right.
Everyone here has a responsibility and has an opportunity who will come with all demanding schedules. Probably today, Melinda, it's a very busy day for Melinda.
So now what I'm going to say?
I'm saying everyone has to be given equal opportunity. When I pose a question to you,
Yes.
if you're skirting around the subject without answering that question, as a journalist, if you have done my job properly before, wherever you were, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Then you have to give opportunity to everyone. I can't let you only talk and.
So I didn't.
Anyway, I don't want to waste time.
No, I will answer. Yeah. If you want me to answer, I can answer.
So Nigel, what I want to understand is, now you have 4 individuals speaking about their political agendas, what they're going to do for the country in terms of taxation, in terms of corruption. We heard. I want to ask you, as an independent analyst today on the show, if the people are watching this tonight and want to make a decision, what must they keep in mind as far as Sri Lanka is concerned?
Thank you. A number of things. While listening to my 4 fellow panelists, whose winning presidential candidates would have a daunting task, if any of them do win, and one of them will, I'm sure. Right? The first thing that I want to say is, I recall the cynical remark that the Singaporean Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, made about our politics in the 1960s and 1970s. He said every general election in Ceylon, we were Ceylon at the time, was an auction of non-existent resources. Why did he say that? Because between, let's say, 1960 to about 1977, it was the welfare state. How many measures of rice? What were you being given in terms of subsidies for food, or health, or education, or welfare? Let me try and concretize this to you. Everything that these gentlemen have professed to enunciate, whether it's economic reform, whether it's fighting corruption, whether it is inviting more foreign exchange, whether it's expanding the economy, socioeconomic issues, health issues, welfare. To me, the matrix, the fulcrum, is under what constitutional order are we doing this? I'm waiting with great interest to see, and I hope you will be able to enlighten us, certainly enlighten me and those who are listening to this program. Are each of your political parties still committed to the executive presidential system of government, or are you all going to abolish it and return to a cabinet prime ministerial system of executive governance? To me, the fulcrum is that, ladies and gentlemen. What is our constitution going to be? Keeping in mind the momentous events of the last 10 years. Economic mismanagement under 2 presidents, and a brother who allegedly had 8 mullahs, or 8 brains. An Aragalaya. which wants systemic change. As one of my colleagues did mention, we are fortunate that we didn't go as far as Bangladesh. But I do recall even Ranil Wickremesinghe saying at the time, right, that the youth demands were fair, and that there had to be a parallel youth parliament, or that youth representation had to be increased in parliament, and in provincial council elections have not been held for 5 years, local governments, and things like that. So you see, I think there is still a deep vacuum and still a deep inconsistency in the whole state of Sri Lanka. So all of this to me would depend on how are we going to have political stability, and to have that political stability, under what constitutional regime are we going to do it? Are you all continuing with an executive presidential system of government, or are you dishing it?
Right. Thank you very much, Nigel Hatch, President's Counsel. I now move my attention to Mahesh Naika, representing UNP, for his closing remarks.
Closing remarks. I think we need a new definition of how the country is run, the country's status. We are sometimes deprived of expressing our views because we have not been groomed to discuss the modern concepts or things that will matter to run a country. That is why we are here. Right? For example, we have something called Impossible Trinity: fixed exchange rates, free flow of capital, and independent monetary policy. This is where this country went wrong. And our public debt burden. Now, when we try to fix this, as much as people ridicule it, it is no surprise that even on media, people don't have the decency to agree, or at least listen and say, look what he's trying to say. So this is the public opinion. I mean, this is how the public opinion has been shaped. So I feel we need a transition. That transition should be to introduce new definitions to all these, especially the 4 pillars. How the judiciary should work, how the executive should work, how the parliament should work, how the executive work. So I think we need a complete revamp of the way we have been doing things. So the country has come to a critical juncture. We have a presidential election. People have all the right to vote for the person whom they want to vote. We believe the person who has reinstated country's economic normalcy to a great extent has the experience to continue the next 5 years. And soon after executive presidential candidate, there will be PZ elections, parliamentary elections, so that people can send the right person to parliament, so that a new way of looking at things can happen. I also have heard in some corners that changing of the constitution, changing of the parliamentary structure is also being discussed. So I think coming months that will also be a good topic. I firmly believe that this country needs a paradigm shift. It cannot be done by one person. One person as executive president can give the leadership, but the next parliament will have broad responsibilities to guide the public to accept that paradigm shift.
Thanks, Mahesh. I now move my attention to Melinda Rajapakse.
So we all know Sri Lanka is on a crossroad. Especially this election will determine not only the economic policies, but also the public policies, the social policies. Everything needs to be discussed and rethought, rethink, and reworked. Not only the constitution, but everything around the political system needs to be re-looked at. And this is a great opportunity for that. I remember when we started student politics, it was very difficult to get young people into the political discourse. But today, the young people are driving the political conversation in this country. Young people are driving the political discourse in this country, in most of the political parties, in the most of the places, which is a happy thing to see. So my request to the young people of this country especially, no matter which political party you work for, I don't mind, but it's very important at this crucial time we understand the politics, we understand the policies, we understand the constitution, we understand the jargons, and also to understand the popular political narrative which is happening around us at the moment, and think about a politician or a political group or a political party which can drive this change. And I don't think anyone who is coming to power will have greater freedom to do things they want, the way they want, because we have already agreed into certain parameters and certain framework. So it's better to find a leader who can who have the strength and who can give the leadership for the public officials, to the treasury, to the central bank, and also to the existing system of this country to drive this change. So SLPP has fielded a candidate, probably the youngest candidate ever of presidential election in Sri Lanka, who can create a new narrative for Sri Lankan politics.
Thank you very much, Melinda. Vijay Bandara?
Yeah. During last 2.5 years, there was a dilemma in the mind of the people whether they get their right vote meaningfully. So long awaited opportunity for the people to cast their vote and elect a democratic government has now come. The election process is set in motion thanks to Supreme Court and Election Commission for taking their constitutional responsibility and doing it incompatible with the expectation of the people. And unfortunately, we are having a president whose conduct has very clearly demonstrated the last 2.5 years he doesn't respect the constitutional provisions. He has challenged the judiciary in and out the parliament. He has challenged the judiciary in part of there at Nuwareli when by association convocation was held. He said that judiciary cannot do so. That is, unfortunately, we have a president who is not respecting the law and order of the country. He thinks that whatever the tactics, according to him, adopted in contravention of the constitution will be successful. But it is the duty of the entire media, entire public, entire election monitors to ensure that this president will not prevail over the law during the time of the election, because he himself is a contender. So far he has done a lot of things. We have stand now, it is mandate, he's been the head of the executive and head of the defense to appoint IGP. He is now refraining from appointing IGP, citing various excuses. And we do not have a Minister of Justice. The person who is totally critical about judiciary, now I got to know that Minister of Justice has been taken over by the President today evening.
But he has that constitutional right.
He has a constitutional right, but when there are ethics and convention also, ethics and convention, therefore it is a duty. I invite all the media to be vigilant to ensure free and fair election for the all voters to choose their democratic candidate at their volunteer will.
Yes, Nima.
Yeah, basically, President has challenged the judiciary. Law Asia on the 6th of August has written to their concerns to the country about what President has done. So we are very sorry to be part of this. He has been the leader of the United National Party and the leader of the opposition from 1994. Today it's 30 years. And when there is no democracy within the party, and not only democracy, bringing the party to zero. Bringing the party to zero, not a single member of parliament got appointed. The responsibility lies on him and only on himself. So he believes that he has brought this taken this country out of debt. I don't think he has brought this country into more debt, more mismanagement, more corruption. So these are the issues with the executive that he is now handling and putting fear into the society. So taking today this judiciary, the Minister of Justice, I don't know what will happen tomorrow. This is the instability that he is creating, and this is the man. So basically, we want to bring the system in this country, whether it is the executive, whether it is parliamentary system, whoever is there should be accountable to the people. That is the most important thing. Law and order, transparency, accountability, that is the first thing that has to be done. Once you do that, positiveness, right thinking investor will come to Sri Lanka. People in this country first must live, be able to give them 3 meals for them to have. Today they are unable to have the 3 meals according to the money that they are having. The inflation has gone up so much and figures are being concocted. So basically there is no law and order. There is rape, there is murders, there is extortion, whatnot. Everything that a bankrupted country is experiencing today. countries like maybe the worst country in the world, maybe this sort of things would have happened in Africa. But they are very much better off today than we are today. So basically, don't blame it on COVID, because COVID came in October, November, before the presidential election in 2019, and you are blaming it on COVID and forgotten about the income. They went on a spending spree. And then this is the innocent people. They used the media. They brought snakes from Kalaniya river, and various things was told to the people, innocent poor people in this country. Most of them don't know, they don't follow basically about politics like the way the politicians follow.
Thanks
so
a lot.
basically,
Thank you very much.
Our leader definitely will deliver. Is honest leader who works almost 18 to 20 hours a day, and who has the experience and who is capable of running this country, bringing this country out of
Thanks a lot,
this situation.
Thank you very much, Kamal Pereira, representing the SJB, Vijay Bandara, representing the NPP, Melinda Rajapakse, representing the SLPP, Mahesh, representing the UNP, as well as Nigel Hatch, President's Council, joining us this evening as an independent analyst. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening on Face the Nation. Thank you very much, Theruni. Thank you very much, Naviksha, for joining us this evening on Face the Nation. I leave you tonight with a quote, as I always do. If you think in terms of a year, plant a seed. If it in terms of 10 years, plant trees. If it in terms of 100 years, teach the people or educate them. Take care and good night.